Hello everybody, it's me, Farham. We're here with Path of Exile 2, and today we're going to be talking about the breach farm that we've been doing over the last few days, and looking at the profitability of that. So we recorded all of the data, how much we spent each night, how much we got out each night. This is in sort of core currency, stuff that you can just trade quickly with Alva, and we wanted to see really how profitable it was without really having a game window. So we took a pretty consistent approach to how we were clearing our Atlas, what we were doing to set up our farms, the type of breach precursor tablets we were using, or indeed sometimes irradiated precursor tablets, but the modifiers we were using there, as well as a consistent way of setting up our maps. We weren't looking for specific map modifiers, but we ran our maps using exactly the same currency and exactly the same juicing every single time. We ran, I think it worked out to be 79 maps, which is slightly annoying. It should have been 80, but I think I missed one night, which is a bit of a shame. But let's jump into this. We'll go over how we set up the Atlas, and then we'll see just how much we made and what our profit per out was. Alright, let's get this Atlas zoomed out properly so we can see what's going on, because this went on for some time. But what we were looking, where we started was actually here. And what I was specifically looking for were clusters of towers like this. So a set of towers where we'd have a number of maps in the middle, and then optionality on which direction we would go from there. We were then clearing to all the towers, taking the shittest nodes that we could to get to the towers, and we were putting breach precursor tablets in them, ones pretty much that looked like this. So all I wanted was 8 or more maps and increased quantity. Didn't care if it was 10, didn't care if it was 20. Rolling my own breach precursor tablets, we were literally shitting them out in every map. Just magicking them up. God, I almost said alterations, and that's the one they've taken away. But just getting quantity on them, banging them in the towers. Doing the towers first, and then sort of picking a direction. So we'd look into the fog. So here we could see 2 towers with a 3rd tower, and then down here we could see a cluster of 3. So we chose this direction, and then we just proceeded. Clear the towers, clear to the towers, do the ones in the middle. Clear to the next set of towers, do the ones in the middle. Clear to the next. I mean, they got very juicy around here. Clear to the next towers, and then we did lots around here because there was just so many to do. And then again, clear to the next cluster of towers, do the ones in the middle. These ones will get buffed up, clear to the next cluster, do the ones in the middle, so on and so on. Then I ran into a load of citadels. Great. That was basically how we went around the Atlas, putting these precursor tablets in. So if we came down here, for instance, we would go to this tower, then up to this tower, then round to this tower, then this tower, before we did any of these maps here. In fact, we might even clear to this tower here and then do these maps in the middle. That way we were getting the juiciest maps. It was just basically doing, for running to the maps, it was just picking up yellow maps from that we'd picked up off the floor, ones that weren't going to kill us, and just using those just to run to the towers. Always tier 15. Any loot we did get from those runs, you were getting maybe 3 or 4x from those running maps. They've gone onto the totals as well, so all of that was included as part of the farm, including the time to actually do them. But those maps we were just speed running. You don't want to be taking things like extra rares and stuff in those maps. That's something you want to be avoiding. You just want to get through them fast. So that was what we did to get around the Atlas. And I know I've definitely zoomed in and out at one point. But yeah, clear to towers, clear out all the towers, put your tablets in, then run all the maps with breach. Make sure you're getting quantity. If you can get things like chance to spawn extra breach hands, that's just good. You'll run enough maps that you'll hit it a couple of times and it'll be nice. You'll get nice juicy maps. So that's how you prep and move around your Atlas. Let's talk a little bit about what we were doing to juice our maps. So I've got a detailed video on juicing maps, but we were doing this. We were taking white maps, we were dropping enough of these to sustain, we didn't have to buy any. Taking an orb, Omen of Sinistral Alchemy. Why are we grabbing one of these? Because it only puts prefixes on your next alchemy use. All the prefixes on a Waystone are beneficial. They will give you more magic monsters, they'll give you quantity, they'll give you rarity, they'll give you more rare monsters, they'll give you more chests, but that one's a bit shit. Unless you remember to open the chest, but it just slows you down. That one's crap. That's a bad modifier. And they'll give you 1 negative modifier, so there's a fairly good chance you're going to be able to run the key. The only thing that we were really worried about was minus max resistances or penetrate. So if we just do that now, there you go, 75% less effective curses. We don't even use them. So this map is just nice and easy to run. You're going to be able to smash these into your maps. You're reasonably likely to get modifiers that you want. We didn't do any re-rolling because this was about 10x investment in the map. Those omens are 6x. Following that, Delirium. The Delirium we were using was Guilt. Why are we using Guilt? For the increased pack size. They're also cheap. These are only coming in at 1x each. So we were looking at about 11x map there. From each map, though, we were getting a lot more than that. But that was how we're rolling our maps. You can, if you wanted to be super, super optimal, you could keep re-rolling them until you got increased quantity and rarity on the map. However, that's going to put a lot more cost in. I wanted to have this as a low startup cost farming method. You're going to get enough quantity and rarity maps doing this method that 25% of your maps will have that on. You'll be fine. You'll get lots. Those are like treat maps. Anyway, or you can go and buy them off the auction house, off the trade site for a bit more, of course. But rolling your own, it's fine. Very profitable. Let's take a look then in the next section at what we actually made through the night. All right, the moment I know you've all been waiting for. We've got the spreadsheet on screen. It's probably up that way because, yeah, that way. It's there. It's above my head just in case you couldn't see it. It's there. I might zoom in on some key parts of this as well, just for those mobile viewers that might want to see the numbers at the end. But let me explain a little bit about this data. And on the left-hand side, we have the battle kiwis and we have the monk, so it's all very sexy. On the left-hand side, let's talk about what we've cost and some assumptions that have been made as we went through this. As I said, we were rolling a lot of our own tablets. In fact, we were rolling all of our own tablets and we were rolling all of our own Waystones. So some prices are indicative. So tablets, I've done a cost if purchased at 15. They would actually probably cost a little bit more than that, but you really can roll your own. So I kind of half the cost of the tablets a little bit. Quantity ones, well, 10, 12 quantity 10 quantity ones are about 15, and a lot of the ones we were running were that. So I think that's probably a reasonably accurate cost. We weren't running like super juice tablets with 2 great modifiers. We were running just with quantity. Happened to hit a couple of 20% quantities, but for the most part, I think that's fairly accurate. We weren't always using 10 maps either. It was only if we had them. We were quite often using 7, 8, 9. A couple of 7s. Rarely ever used a 5 unless it had a 20% quantity on it. That was nice to use just to get the extra quantity if we didn't need so many breach. There was a few there were a few towers that were near water. They're near water and there's not that many maps in them. Then using the 5 doesn't feel so bad if you've got good quantity. Okay, we weren't using perfect Waystones. Perfect tablets, sorry, so put it in there. We were always using a blank white Waystone. You can get those in bulk for 1.5 Waystone cost each. So Waystones on either side are 1.5 each. They buy or sell any Waystone for about that much in bulk on the TFT website. So cost on Waystones. For the omens, this was priced based on how much I paid at Alva per night. First night was 5.6, which was nice and cheap. Gilts, same deal. We priced these based on how much we spent at Alva each night. So 1.2 was about standard there. The omens actually fluctuated quite a lot. And you'll notice here that 30 is not 3 per map. In fact, it's almost like 10 maps didn't have gilts on them. Correct. The first 10 maps I did not put gilts on them. And someone reminded me that that was probably a good idea. And I wasn't quite sure the build could handle delirium on night 1. Turns out it could. There's no problem at all. We got a little bit of a damage upgrade and then we were flying. So at that point, that was what became our consistent farm. So that's why there was a slight deviance there on the gilts to the number of Waystones. In regards to maps, we've got three ways we're recording what happened with our maps. Either we ran them and they were successful, either there might have been a skill issue and then that's in that column, or GGG bugged the game and it stole it, in which case it's there. All of the maps as well, all of this is recorded, it's all been on stream, so if you wanted to check any of this stuff, the streams are staying up on YouTube, so go and check them. In fact, I only do stuff on YouTube, so I don't know why I specified. Looking at what we made, so we basically we recorded things that we could either sell in bulk in TFT quickly, that weren't bulky items like having to price up every single base that we got and things like that. They were going in for crafting for later, but this was just stuff we could either sell at Alva or quickly sell with a quick Discord message. So we've got Val Orbs, Alchemy Orbs, Chaos Orbs, Chance Orbs, Annulment Orbs, Chance Shards, Divine Orbs, Tier 15 Waystones, tablets, but I've priced the tablets here at 3. Some tablets you can sell, some tablets you can't. Get slightly more tablets you can't sell than you can. They generally sell on bulk for 8 if they do sell, so put it at 3 just to round it off, rather than having to go through and work out exactly which tablets were valuable. You can drop Omen tablets that are worth like 80 exalts, right? But the majority of them are going to be crap, so rounded off at 3. I think I did sell one for 88 as well. Breach stones, this was the main thing we were farming. This is what we're doing, right? We're running breaches. We're going to be getting quite a few of these. Simulacrum splinters. So when we started putting the oh god, what are they called now? they're I keep seeing the anointing window in my head when we're anointing the maps with some Ulcrum stuff. Oh, then we were getting those about as well. They were trading up very, very well, so that was a good addition to add in those guilds. Strongly recommend running with Delirium on your maps. Splinters are the Breachstone splinters. Results are exalts, right? Priced 1-to-1. That's what all of our profit and loss is being calculated back to into exalts for ease. Gem cutters and logbooks. So logbooks trade really, really well. People are always buying them on buying those in bulk. They trade for about, well, they fluctuate quite a lot. They seem to be consistently going up at the moment. So that's what night one looked like. This is generally how the spreadsheet's going to look. It's going to get neater and tidier as we go along. I'll explain anything that's changed. So on night 2, I decided to factor in the cost of alks. So there's probably about 6 cost missing from the first night, unfortunately. But then we started factoring in the cost of alks. We only ran 17 maps on our next night, but we stopped dying by this point. And we factored in as well greater... Well, we didn't actually drop any on the first night, but we factored in greater Jeweler's Orbs. But they really don't drop at a very high rate. They're very, very rare. Anyway, profit was looking kind of stable between the first couple of nights. Same number of maps actually completed, being, well, difference of 1, and we're slightly down on the amount of profit on that second night. So things were starting to look quite consistent. Third night, fixed the spreadsheet, tip top, everything's looking good. We did 18 maps again. Now, there's a couple of anomalies on this, and I would like to explain them. So left-hand side is as it was. See, the price of omens has actually started to go up, though. On the right-hand side, however, you can see there are a shitload of exalts. We got a lot of exalts tonight, and that is because we dropped a perfect Jeweler's Orb, and I decided the best thing to do was just sell it and put the exalts straight in. So that's the result of a perfect Jeweler's Orb. I wasn't sure whether to include those super rare drops or not, but considering we ran this for the amount of time we did, and there weren't that many super rare drops, it felt like the number to include. Consider as well we were running maps that had ritual whenever we could, and doing the rituals, because rituals pretty good money. We got 1 hit from that, and that's coming up on the next night. In fact, well, we worked on it over 3 nights, to be fair. But on the third night, we made even more, and that is because of the number of divines. We actually got an Omen of Whittling, so if we took that down and took out what we got for that Omen of Whittling, see, we made considerably less. I will show the end total as well with that factored in so that we can take out that lucky drop, because that one I was umming and ahhing about. But then over 80 maps where you're like hard farming and picking the best maps and going for the highest. I don't know whether to include it. I'll leave that one up to you guys. Let me know in the comments. On our final results, let's have a look. So let's run it first. In fact, this was 10. Let's run it first with just 2. So if we don't include the lucky drop, which is the Omen of Whittling, I am going to include the Citadels. We only did, I believe, 2, and we sold those. The fragments only sell for about the same amount as a Breachstone. So we spent 15 hours doing this. If you don't include the lucky drop, it was a profit per hour of 210 and a third exalt, which isn't too bad, considering the fact that some of this time would have been spent distracting and being distracted, messing around on Steam, on stream, and chatting to people. There was people asking for build help and stuff. So, you know, with more efficiency than that, you'd probably get this same farm done in, with the same character just being more efficient than I was, better clicks. You could probably get the same farm done in 11, 12 hours, maybe faster. I'm not that crazy efficient. But if we factor in, if we consider that actually over that much time, you would factor in a lucky drop, at least 1 like that, then it actually takes up to 271 exalts, which is about 2 1/3 divines per hour, which is very good. And if we actually said, right, well, actually, Farham's slow as shit, and I could do this in 11 hours, it takes you up closer to 3 1/3 divines per hour, which is very, very good for an efficient farmer on this build, by the way. So build guide and everything's in the link below if you guys wanted to check it out, including the written one. It's very fast, it's very good, and strongly recommend this. I'm going to be checking this out using some different currencies to juice. I think the Owl Can Go is still very strong, but I want to try different levels of Delirium now the characters online is better online, and see what the impact of the Deliriums are. So if you've enjoyed this and you like going over things like this and seeing the results of farms, come check out the stream, and yeah, catch you soon. Have a good one.